Crimes against humanity, ethnic cleansing. I do not use these terms lightly for shock value or out of ignorance. Hello, I'm social historian and Holocaust scholar Jennifer Boyer, and the news over the past few weeks has brought to mind so many tragic images about which I have researched and written. I would like to share with you one of France's most regrettable moments, La Rafle du Veldiv, or the Winter Velodrome Roundup. The Velodrome was a large stadium in which the popular six-day bicycle races, as well as boxing, fencing, cycling, and wrestling events during the 1924 Olympics were held. In July 1942, under orders from Vichy, not the Nazis, French police arrested Jewish families from Paris and held them captive in the most inhuman conditions. There were not enough toilets, so people urinated and defecated themselves. There was not enough water, and because they had sealed all the doors and windows to prevent escape, there was no respite from the sweltering July heat. The elderly passed out. Women gave birth in the aisles. Children wailed. People leapt from the top levels, choosing suicide rather than endure that living hell or the one that was in store. These Jewish families, most of whom were immigrants from Eastern Europe who had come to France seeking asylum, were held in the Veldiv in Paris over a 5-day period, then taken to transit camps with even more deplorable conditions. Once in the transit camps, namely Drancy, Pithiviers, and Bonne-la-Rolande, the collaborating French officers strategically separated the men from the women and children. The men could only watch helplessly from behind barbed wire as the French officers announced that the children would be separated from their mothers. What happened next is so heart-wrenching, I can barely stand to tell you. Women and children screamed and cried for one another, while officers literally ripped the children from their mothers' arms. They hit the desperate mothers with the butt of their rifles or their fists and sprayed them down with hoses. And why? Because they were foreign and Jewish. It's unfathomable, yet this very scene is being repeated daily at our own borders. And why? Because these immigrants are foreigners, most Latinos. Despite the xenophobic vitriol spread by the Trump administration and the MAGA media, they pose no more of a threat to us than did the foreign Jews to France or Europe as a whole. This separation of families who are seeking our help is cruel and inhumane and needs to stop. This is not an acceptable solution, especially from the party of so-called family values. And for the record, the adults from the Veldiv Roundup, which were comprised of 2,916 women and 1,129 men, were sent to Auschwitz, where most perished. The 4,115 children of the Veldiv who had not already died of starvation or fever were sent a few weeks later to Auschwitz, alone, where the majority were gassed upon arrival. We may not be sending people to gas chambers, but we are killing them nonetheless, if not their physical being, their spirit. People are terrified of deportation, even naturalized citizens. Children worry that while they're at school, their family will not be there when they get home. And their fear is not unwarranted, as reports of ICE and other masked individuals are kidnapping immigrants off the streets, most of whom are here legally, then detaining and deporting them. Many Latino men are being sent surreptitiously from the United States to a Salvadoran prison with a reputation for torture and mistreatment, where no one knows if they are okay or even alive. Unless you are 100% Native American, immigration is where all our stories begin. Immigrants are the soul of our country, and this is the best we can do for them? The fate of these people is in our hands. How can we change this narrative to have a more just, humane ending than did the Jewish immigrants from the Veldiv? Please Write or call your representatives and demand that they personally ensure humane treatment of all human beings who approach and attempt to cross our borders, with absolutely no exception. Now, to be clear, I'm not saying to just let everyone in. There absolutely needs to be a vetting process. However, it is totally possible to simultaneously vet these poor souls and respect their dignity. Our leaders know that. They just choose to ignore it. Our job is to loudly remind them and hold them accountable. Thank you.